Today we're going to replace the leaky air springs in a 99 Lincoln Continental with this coil spring conversion kit. Just got it in the mail, so let's open it up and see what's inside. Our new coil springs. And the replacement mounts, upper and lower. Your rubber seat for the spring. And there's the kit. I ordered this kit off of eBay from the seller Prime Choice Auto Parts, which, as you can see, comes from Ontario, Canada, even though their eBay listing shows the location as New York. Kind of bothers me when they deceive you like that with the location, but I guess it still got here fairly quickly. Alright, so here's the actual parts of the kit. You got your spring, obviously. Got the top mounting plate. Now on this one, the bolt comes loose. You're going to want to tighten that up. It doesn't bolt anything. It goes up into your subframe, and these two bends go up into two holes in your subframe where the original air spring locked into place. Now I've already got one side installed, and when I did that side, I actually trimmed the top of these bends a little bit because they actually were too long and they would gouge into the bottom of my subframe, creating a nice bare metal mark. And living in Northeast Ohio in the salt belt, it would definitely cause a nice place to rust. So I actually cut those down to keep that from happening. You got your bottom one here. It's going to bolt into the bottom of the control arms. I'll show you in a minute. That's what it looks like. Not sure I'm in love with this kit yet, but we'll give it a chance to see how it works. Alright, here's what it looks like before. And there's what the kit looks like. You can see that bottom plate bolts up through the bottom of this bracket. And then the top plate indexes in place with these two holes where your original air strut went. Alright, now when we go to take the original airbags out, we want to get all the air out of them. You go ahead and leave your air ride suspension on, jack up the back of the car, and let it depressurize itself some on its own. Then you can get in here, you pull the air hose out, push this orange lock ring up, and the air hose will pull out. I'm going to show you how to do it on this one so you can see it because it's not up in the hole on the car. You get in there with a screwdriver and pull this little clip out, and in the solenoid it'll turn one click, pull it out, and that'll let all the pressure out of the bag. Then you can turn it another click and it'll pull out of there. Then there's these two clips, 4 clips on the bottom. You want to squeeze those in, pull this out of your control arm, and compress it. 2 more here to pinch, and this will pull right out of your subframe. You get up in there, push that orange clip, the air hose out, unplug the electrical connector. Clip off the solenoid. And we can turn it and let the pressure out. Solenoid's out. Those clips in on the bottom. Compress your bag. 2 clips up top. And your bag's out. Simple as that. Alright, so there it is with the bag out. You can see this top plate where those 2 bends are going to go right into those holes to index it in place. But as you can see, this side's the same way. Those spikes on top of those bends are going to gouge up the underside of this subframe, which this car is actually from Tampa, Florida, and not Ohio, as you can tell by the lack of rust. and I want to try to keep it that way as long as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the top of these spikes off as well, just a little bit so they're not rubbing the bottom of my subframe. Alright, I got the tire off, so we got some more room to see what we're doing. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull this bracket off that held the bottom of the bag, and we're going to pull off our shock bolt so we can get a little bit more movement downwards on our spindle. Our shock bolt is jammed up because of the pressure from the sway bar link and the other side suspension hanging down. We jacked it up with this tripod. Let me get that off. If you're doing it on the ground, you just put a floor jack there, jack it up. I'll let our spindle come down a little more for when we go to put the new spring in. I just stuck this back up in place and stuck a bolt in it to hold it there so I could install the bottom plate. I guess I could have done that before I took it out, but why not do things twice, I guess. Now the bottom bolt just comes with this big washer, and it's got a big hole in the bottom of this control arm, and it sucks up through that hole, and I didn't like that, so I actually added a second washer to keep the bolt from pulling through the washer. There it is, there's your bottom mount on. Pull this back out and get ready to put the spring in. Now we take our spring, put the top plate on top of it. Bottom plate stacks on here. You want to put those two bends right up in those index holes. This is the part where it gets a little dangerous, I guess. I actually got to compress this quite a bit to get it in its home. If you're doing this on the ground, so you could probably put a floor jack under your spring bracket to get everything up into place. And we're just going to compress that up in there until we can get these bolts back in. Alright, we got our spring jack back up into place, and we got this bracket bolted back in and tightened down. The last thing we need to do is jack up the spindle high enough so we can get the shock bolt back in, and then we're pretty much done. And there it is, sitting at ride height with all the weight on it. No more air leaks. Yeah, I took it for a little ride to give the springs a chance to settle in. And there's what it looks like. Looks pretty level. And honestly, the ride, I really can't tell a difference from the air springs, so far so good, as long as it holds up.